Time is 6 o'clock. I call the meeting of the Atoka City Council to order. Ask everyone to rise as we do the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. Face the flag, salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you bow with me, please? Our most gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you this evening. Lord, just lifting up this meeting to you, Lord, to give us the wisdom to do the very best we can for the city and its citizens. Lord, I just want you to reach out and touch those that have been affected by the storms, Lord. Let them see your grace from the last week and those that are storms that are ongoing tonight. Lord, just be with all those affected and all those that are first responders and storm trackers trying to keep everyone safe now, Lord, and give them safe passage home. Be with each and every one here tonight. Give them your blessings, and we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Well, good evening, everyone. We got a full house this evening. Glad to see everyone. And at this time, would the clerk call roll, please?
Mr. Turner?
Here.
Mr. Sherrill?
Here.
Ms. McGee?
Here.
Ms. Poe?
Here.
Mayor Kathy?
Here. All right. Again, welcome to everyone. Thank you for all being here. Yes, ma'am. This is the public comment time. This is anything that's not on the posted agenda. You may address the board at this time. And hearing none, we'll move down to the business agenda. Item number 1, discussion and/or action regarding approving or rejecting the minutes of the meeting of April 15th, 2024.
Recommend approving. I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Ms. Poe?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrill?
Yes.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes. Item number 2, discussion and/or action regarding accepting or rejecting the city manager's report. Mr. DeLay, good evening, sir.
Good evening, everyone. My report is on attachment number 2, if anyone has any questions.
I recommend approving. I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherrill?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Ms. Poe?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes. Item number 3, discussion and/or action on approving or rejecting blanket purchase orders for the city of Atoka for the month of May. Mr. DeLay?
Those are on attachment number 3, if anyone has any questions.
I'll move to approve. I'll second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Poe?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrill?
Yes.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes. Item number 4, discussion and/or action on approving or rejecting resolution number 2024-18, modifying designated local point of contact for national incident management. I would assume that was gonna go to you.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah,
there we go.
that is-
That'll be, we have to name an incident or national incident management system point of contact for the city. Right now, it's still currently Roger Hawley from back when he was here. We need to get that updated because the state hit us for it on this last time I turned it in.
Okay. Would we recommend a gentleman last name Mullins, I'm assuming, for that?
Whoever y'all would like to recommend.
We would like to change that to Travis Mullins, please.
Are you
Sure you want to do it?
I'm already doing it.
He's already done it.
I'll make a motion to
I'll
approve.
second.
To approve Travis Mullins?
To
as-
approve Travis
okay.
Mullins, yes,
All
sir.
right, and a second for that. Roll call, please.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Poe?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrill?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes. Item number 5, discussion and/or action to award Miller Asphalt the overlay job of East 4th Street from Highway 69 to Pennsylvania Avenue, including labor and materials of 2-inch hot mix asphalt in the amount of $31,250.
That low quote is on attachment number 4. That is between Elladome and Pruitt's, that street there.
Okay.
Okay. I recommend approving.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrill?
Yes.
Ms. Poe?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes. Item number 6, discussion and/or action on appointing an assistant city judge to act in conflicts when Judge David Youngblood is unavailable.
Good evening, council. We have a couple of cases coming up that Mr. Youngblood is going to have some conflicts on and will be unable to hear. Previously, we had Joe Trail as our assistant city judge, but when he took the bench, he resigned, and we never designated a replacement. And so I would ask the court to designate a replacement this evening. I visited with Mr. Markham, Tom Markham, out of Durant. He serves right now as Stringtown's municipal judge. he's indicated that he would be happy to serve when we have conflicts and need someone else. So I'd ask the court, it'd be my recommendation, so I would ask the council to appoint Tom Markham.
Is that the one that we had from Durant?
No, we,
I couldn't remember his name,
that was
sorry.
Pat.
Okay.
Yeah, you got the right building this time, you did say council.
Yeah, I did.
Yes, I recommend approving Tom Markle for the.
I sometimes forget where I'm at.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second, roll call, please.
Mr. Sherrill?
Yes.
Ms. Pogue?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes. Item number 7, discussion and/or action on authorizing the city manager and/or mayor to submit and execute all documents pertaining to a grant application for Safe Streets for All Planning Grant, SS 4A, for up to $350,000. Mr. Dealey? Oh, is that you, Carol? Who we
So
got?
We've been, it's
Okay.
gonna be me.
Okay.
We've been working with OU on this Safe Streets for All grant, and we need approval to apply for up to $350,000. This is to do a planning grant, so that we have a plan on the shelf for when the implementation grant is made available next year. This is, our match is basically in kind on all of our match. We're not looking for cash for the match at this time. We just want to apply for the grant.
Is this like a T-SET grant or something?
No.
No? Okay.
So it's basically to plan and implement, or it's to plan and gather data for new technologies to help people, because we're mixing a lot of pedestrian traffic with our highway traffic. And what is making us desirable for this is the fact that we are a small community, but we have urban issues with our traffic.
Okay.
So primarily a transportation study to look at how to move
Yeah.
people.
It's really cool. I've sat in on a couple of the meetings and it's really a neat project. So that way, once, there's something that does come down, we could maybe possibly get something to build some new sidewalks, some crossings, some, stuff like that. Right, Carol?
Yes.
Yeah, I've talked to Soto a little bit about this as well.
And it is difficult, but, because typically if you don't have some form of a plan in place,
Then they won't give you any money.
you don't have time to, once you learn about a grant opportunity, if you don't have plans sitting there ready to go, you don't have a chance to apply for those grants, so you miss out, so. yeah.
So,
Okay,
So-
so at this time, is there any other questions before I move forward?
I thought she had a question. No.
Okay.
Then I recommend approving.
Okay, there's a motion
I'll second.
and a second, roll call, please.
Ms. Pogue?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrill?
Yes.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes. Item number 8, discussion and/or action on ordinance 602, amending Part 13 of the City Code of Atoka, Oklahoma, 2020, establishing and implementing a program to charge mitigation rates for deployment of emergency and non-emergency services by the fire department for services provided / rendered by and for the Atoka Fire Department.
But you explain it better than I can, John.
We are, one of the items on your agenda coming up is entering into agreement with Fire Recovery USA, which is a company that does billing for fire runs. Right now, the city code does not allow us to bill for fire runs within the city limits. We can only bill for runs that we make outside the city limits, which has not been occurring in at least recent years. We don't bill for anything. We're losing a lot of revenue that could potentially be captured for the fire department, specifically from insurance companies with regards to traffic accidents along the highway. When they respond to those types of calls, there is a national rate that insurance companies will pay for those services, the mitigation rates. And so this ordinance is establishing a rate schedule for the city with regards to different response levels to incidents that we will then in turn around and bill out to the insurance companies, whether it be a house fire, house insurance, or a traffic accident, because the money is there. It's allowable in most policies, but we've not been billing for it, and we
What
want
about
to start.
the case if they don't have insurance?
Well, there, in the ordinance that I've put in front of you, there's a provision that the city manager can negotiate those rates. If they don't have insurance and we bill and there's no ability for them to pay those, it will just be something we'll likely write off. But, you know, the city manager has discretion to make those decisions, so.
Well, it is much needed. I mean, the expenses of our volunteer departments, the amount of the equipment, the trucks, and just being able to have extra funding for trainings or whatever their needs are is much needed, so.
Is it significant amount of money?
Yeah, if you look at your ordinance, I mean, I think the minimum run is like $600 or $800 is what they will pay. So, you know, just
Runs a month.
for a basic call, so.
Okay.
I mean, it's not gonna be a big boom, but it'll certainly help us save some money for, you know, a fire engine down the road or something like that, so.
Almost to approve.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrill?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes. Item number 9, discussion and/or action on declaring an emergency for ordinance 602.
Look at there, I put it on as a separate item.
Gee.
I recommend approving the
Saw that
emergency.
first thing. man.
I recommend approving the emergency.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrill?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes. Number 10, discussion and/or action on approving or rejecting the city of Atoka to enter into a contract with Fire Recovery USA.
Yeah, Michael Harkey, Fire Chief from Caney here to tell us a little bit about this, if y'all would like him to. They've been doing this for the last few years, Michael?
We started a year ago, Stringtown started 2 years ago.
Okay, Stringtown, a couple of years ago.
Sure.
He and Shane have both talked to me about this a little bit, so I invited them to come and talk, to answer any questions y'all might have about this company.
What is it?
Yeah,
You
what
wanna
does
step
it
up
do?
here, guys?
Councilman, this is the company that will do the billing for
That's
us
it right here.
with regards to the fire department runs.
Okay.
Yeah, they're called Fire Recovery USA.
Yeah, so the fire department would put their information in, they have an app, basically a website. The fire department put their information in there, and it's based off their narrative. Whatever they wrote in their narrative, they'll bill from that narrative. So the fire department doesn't decide what that cost is gonna be. It's, for that company to decide that, and what it is, and the fire department receives 78% of what they collect, and their payment is the 22% that they collect out of that. Last year, I believe Stringtown brought in around $50,000 from this program. They have lots of wrecks up that way. We brought in about $15,000 on our end, last year, and all it takes is just somebody to put that information in the computer. It's really easy to do.
So you say you have a contract with this Fire Recovery USA?
Yes, and it's a contract, it's a negotiable contract you can get out of. I mean, it's not
Yeah, I believe it
yeah,
says a 30-day notice.
it's like a 30-day notice, either party can quit, so.
And y'all been in it how long?
We've been in it for a year,
Yeah.
for us, and Stringtown's been in it for 2 years. There's a clause in there that you say that you won't hard bill, residents that live in your city limits. And what all that means is the company will bill their insurance company. If the insurance company denies it, then that company will not go after that person, for that, to make them liable for that payment. If they're non-residents and say they live in Dallas, and their insurance company says, no, we're not gonna pay that, then they'll bill that resident, hey, and it's typically around $400 to $600, just an average crash, that's kind of what it runs.
Okay.
Some of our commercial vehicle crashes, we've collected over $10,000 on a crash on one vehicle, so.
Yeah.
And how much did you say the contract was yearly? You said it
It's
yearly?
a percentage, so,
You said the 22%?
yeah, so 22% goes to the company that collects it, and 78% goes back
So
to
there's
the city.
no flat rate
No
up
rate.
front fee.
Okay.
There's no, it doesn't cost you
Okay.
anything out of pocket.
What's the benefit?
The benefit is,
Revenue.
we need money, and,
Our departments need money.
yeah, I mean,
This is something that we're not getting.
Correct.
no, so the insurance companies are kind of laughing at us on this because they're collecting the premiums, and it covers this, but we're not billing it.
Yeah, your insurance has this.
So they just
insurance
keep that money, it goes into their profit account, so, it's not like we're taking anything from the residents or the people that's having, we're just billing the insurance companies.
policy.
That's where it's coming from.
So we're not billing now, so this is just a way to get at least 78% of the money.
Yes.
Shane, who's gonna do that for you guys if it's approved?
They will actually, well, I understand they'll pull it off of our ESO reporting already, right?
Yes.
So we can either let them pull off that, or we can designate somebody within the fire department to just put that into that. What's it take you to do?
About 10 minutes. If I gather the correct data on the scene, about 10 minutes, I'm in there and done. And,
So it's car insurance?
yes.
It'll
And
also be your
Homeowner
homeowner's
insurance.
insurance.
Oh, it's any insurance, okay.
Yes, so, you know, we can bill for structure fires too.
Yeah, 'cause we, on a structure fire, we're sending everybody, you know, and,
Yeah.
and then backups from our interlocal agreements. I mean, all those things add up. And I know 6975 is really busy with incidences, and Shane, I know you guys get a ton of calls out. And I know it runs in different cycles, and there's no way to really nail down how many you have a week, but I would say Atoka's just about as busy as any of the rest of the departments as far as,
Probably are, I mean, I've
as far as
got
number of
I can
runs,
count it.
number of runs that are calculated out, so,
And all that's gonna go to the fire department?
yes.
Everything?
Yes.
Yes.
I think it'll wanna come into y'all's budget first.
Yes.
Yeah, this is what our city does too. It comes into the city's budget and they just earmark it. You
Yeah,
know,
we just
do-
earmark it like we do for when we're saving it for a new fire engine. We'll do it that way.
Yep. Okay.
How much do you approve?
I'll second.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks.
Have a motion, second, roll call, please.
Mr. Sherrill?
Yes.
Ms. Poe? Yes. Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes. Number 11, discussion and/or action regarding accepting or rejecting the recommendation from the Atoka Planning Commission regarding the request by Brad Copeland to change the current R1 Single Family Residence District to CBD Central Business District, and request a variance of use permit to operate a single-story dwelling for the property described as the east 35 feet of Lot 5 and the west 50 feet of Lot 6, and the east 50 feet of Lot 6, and the east 50 feet of the west 65 feet of Lot 5. Block 11, Atoka City, also known as 175 East B Street, Atoka, Oklahoma.
Or the old Catherine's Flower Shop, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Guys, this went before planning and zoning.
Yeah, it's in there, the recommendation is in there.
Yeah, so it was originally my thoughts when they began having the discussion on this is, the property is zoned R1 residential right now, which doesn't allow for commercial use.
Correct.
The property has a commercial facility and also a residential living quarters in it as well. The only zoning category that we have as a city is our CBD district, which is our commercial, downtown district, basically. That's the only zoning classification we have that allows mixed-use residential and commercial. So it just being right here, close to downtown, my thoughts were to have that rezoned as a CBD district. When planning and zoning met, they did not like that, thinking. So it's their recommendation to the council to zone it C2 highway commercial, because that is what the businesses along the highway are zoned. They didn't like CBD because there's basically a lot there on North Delaware that breaks up the CBD district. It's not contiguous with the downtown district.
Okay.
Although I do look for the downtown to kind of sprawl that way at some point in the future, hopefully. But they wanted to keep it C2 and give him a variance to allow the residential use of the living quarters. That was their recommendation.
Okay.
You good with that,
Pros and
Brad?
cons to,
I don't really have, well, my only concern is, you know, and they talked about there are people in the motels that live in the motels. Our codes allow for overnight people that are working there to stay overnight in the motel. It doesn't really allow for residential, but, you know, if they overnight there the entire time as the employee or worker, I guess, you know, kind of a fine line there. I just don't want to get into to a situation where we're granting a lot of variances in C2 highway commercial for houses. You know, I think that could become a slippery slope there.
But there was a business there in the first place, so.
Yeah, I mean, right. Historically, the use of the property has been both commercial and residential, you know, back before we really were taking a serious look at our codes, it was just kind of a free-for-all, do what you want. And that's how the property has been used historically. So I agree. I think, you know, we certainly can argue for C2 with the variance because that's how the property has been used. But I think in the future, you know, we.
Yeah, because I would hate to know how many tons of flowers have been run through that building over the years.
We don't want to make a habit of allowing residential in C2, you know. But I think the historical use of this property would justify the recommendation here. So either way, it doesn't matter.
How do you address water bill when you've got a business and a house in the same building? Do they pay higher rate?
They have two different water bills.
Two
I
different
know
meters.
years ago with ARCLA, if you had a business and you, in your house, like kind of like Catherine Flowers was, you paid a residential, you didn't pay a residential rate, you paid a commercial.
Oh, okay.
Now, that's the way gas company used to do it. I didn't know how we did it.
Yeah. We did both.
What'd you
So
do?
currently, it's a single-family residence.
Zoned
Zoned.
R1.
Well, yeah, it's
Zone.
R1, which is single family, yeah.
Okay, but we wanna change it, you wanna change it to CBD,
Well, that was my initial proposal,
but
but
they wanna change it.
they want to change it to
Okay.
to C2.
And what's the difference between the CBD and the commercial two?
CBD doesn't require setbacks. It's the downtown district, basically, so there's no
Where they have common
setbacks.
walls
There's
between
no-
the buildings downtown.
Yeah,
There's no parking.
No setback.
okay,
It allows for on-street parking only, which is what this has. There's no setbacks. This building comes right out to the curb. There's no setback. That's why I thought it was kind of a more natural fit for CBD. Because, you know, if they do go in and ever have to pull a building permit for an expansion or something of that nature, then they're gonna have to comply with the parking and setback requirements of C2 or come back and get another variance for that, so.
so if they go with C2, then they have to get parking and all that stuff done, or no?
No, not at this point, but if they ever had to, you know, do a substantial, rebuild of the facility, it would have to be changed from its original footprint to comply with the C2
Which
requirements.
there's been variances done on, you know, if it doesn't pose a safety issue.
Mhm.
There's been variances in the past given on parking square footage on
Okay.
C2.
Now,
So-
isn't that the only spot over there, that's the only thing on that, like, lot of land,
I
right?
believe so.
So by doing this, we're okay on what Mr. Copeland wants?
Either way you
Either
do
way.
it,
Okay,
you know.
Doesn't matter.
so I'll
So-
make a motion, we accept the planning and zoning's recommendation of C2 with the variance.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Poe?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrill?
Yes.
Mayor Caddy?
Yes. Very good. Thank you, Brett. All right, as we move down to item C, public, discussion and/or action on designating a permanent location for the Atoka Farmers Market as requested by Vincent Russo. Mr. Russo? Good evening, sir.
Good evening,
Good evening.
members of the council, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for allowing us to appear before you to discuss the Atoka Farmers Market. Farmers markets are historically been a beneficial part of each council, of each city that they are established in. And I understand that if you're applying for some grants, one of the questions they ask you is, do you have a farmer's market? Currently, the farmer's market is located in what used to be from what I understand, the old Ford building. It's not a bad place, but it does have the problem of it being not permanent because we don't own the land. We've spoke among ourselves, and that is the committee and some of our growers, and have come up with some possible places to establish the farmer's market. Each of these, which I'm going to list, have their pros and cons. And I have a specific one that I like, but I'm not going to push that one before I get myself into trouble. Starting from the middle of town and moving out perhaps is a place between Reba's and Jackson Diner. Going further out The area behind the Sonic and the insurance company is at this point all grass, and I don't know who owns that. Mamie Johnson's original area as a possible spot. Another spot that may have some potential is the parking lot across from where we are right now. The biggest problem with that is that, if I understand, we're gonna be charged $200 a day, and that'll kill us. So I guess your first question to me may be is, what do you want us to do? And I wish I could tell you, go out and buy the land and give it to us, but I don't know what your capabilities are. And I'm willing to answer any questions you may have, and I hope that we can maybe perhaps work with Carol, form some sort of subcommittee and discuss where we can possibly go with this.
What time frame would you want for a farmer's market? From like March to October, what?
We have a May to October timeframe, only because that's what we can afford right now in insurance. Biologically, the harvests of most vegetables, I'm speaking vegetables primarily, although there are other things that can fit in, would be from June through August, and then later on into the fall, depending on the weather, you can have a second harvest of most crops. Things like eggs, crafts like soap and perfumes, things that can have to be done in a certified kitchen or don't have a market time frame.
So it'd be beneficial to be facing the highway just from the traffic volume
Right,
versus off to the side or
right.
out of visibility of the highway, correct?
Aside from the problem of not owning the current land, it's not necessarily helpful to people who have a problem walking, because to get to it, you have to go up a ramp.
Okay.
It's also has a limited amount of space for expansion. I estimated while we were there Saturday, we can maybe get 12 vendors. And to be honest, when we were out at the museum, we never had 12 vendors. And a lot of that problem came from the growers having not the greatest amount of volume. And I'm hoping between myself and my son-in-law, who are in the process of establishing a medium-sized vegetable growing organization, that we can fill the gap and have people, when they come in at 10:30, 11 o'clock, say, I'm sorry, everything's gone. Aside from that, I'm not real sure what else I can answer, but I'm willing to answer any questions you have.
As far as other local growers, having a more established area, do you feel like that would, because I know just at the location that I work at, we have a lot of people that come through when their gardens are producing, and they'll just bring things to the bank and hand them out because they've got just so much, but they don't want to go sit all day and try to sell their wares to
Right.
somebody. They'd rather just come through and give bushels of that out, and trying to turn that into something for them. Is there an opportunity for that?
The guidelines from the state say that for a farmer's market, locally grown means anywhere up to a 100-mile radius. And we would never turn away anybody who wants to come and sell their produce. One of the concerns that we could have is whether or not somebody's gonna go down to Dallas, buy a bunch of stuff and come up here and sell it. And I'm generally at the market when it's open on Saturdays. And one of my concerns is to go to new people who I've not seen before, ask them where you're from, where you getting your stuff. Now, if somebody shows up with oranges, I know that's not local. And give them some idea of what our rules and regulations are. Currently, we don't charge producers, which you would think would be a drawing card. But I don't know exactly why we don't have an overflow of growers. For one thing, I think it would be possible if people at a church got together and said, well, got a bunch of gardens that we're gonna put our crops together, some at the market and the money go to the church, or any other civic organization. We are not an exclusionary organization. We would like to have everybody who is willing to put in the work and show up on Saturday come. Now, the biggest problem with growing anything is that it's not a weekend job, especially in weather like this. You've got to be able to get out and put a commitment in. So people like myself who are retired, I don't have a problem with that. As long as the ground will let me do what needs to be done, it's going to get done.
How often do you set up?
I'm sorry?
Or how often do you set up? Is it every day or?
No, well, right now it's Saturdays.
It's just Saturdays.
Yeah,
So
we-
would that continue?
We have
if
been talking about Fridays and Saturdays, but the way we handle that is ask the growers what they want to do. You know, if one person wants to show up on Wednesday, not going to stop them, but there's not going to be anybody there to regulate or manage, perhaps is the better word, the situation.
Well, I know some vendors go to people on Wednesdays, like at the Choctaw Nation. Some of your vendors will come out there on Wednesdays, because I know that some of the seniors can use their cards, and they'll come out there on Wednesdays,
Come out where, ma'am? I'm sorry.
out at the Choctaw Nation. Out at the
Oh, right
community-
at their campus.
Community center.
Yeah,
uh-huh.
I've been out there and I've seen one or two, I was gonna say older gentlemen,
Mhm.
who've got a couple of things in front of them, and that, if
Usually
they,
we have people come out with
if the Choctaw
watermelons.
Nation, I think, would want to give us land, to do that, I'm not sure that we would say no, but the Choctaw Nation campus had the same problem, I think, that the museum site had, in that it's not in the city.
Well,
But the vendors come
the
there,
Choctaw is
so,
now.
you know.
Well, I understand that, but it's not
Traffic flow is what
necessarily,
he's.
Yeah.
it's not only necessary for the vendors, it's for the city.
Mhm.
We want to be an asset to the city, not necessarily an outlier on the extremes of the
Okay.
border of the city.
So would you have to be given the land to do, or could you have like a contract that says you can use the land?
Yes, either way.
Either way.
One.
Okay,
One
so-
possibility is if you could waive the user fee for that parking lot.
I think we can look at.
You're talking about this parking lot up here? The-
Yeah, parking, right,
Brandenburg-
right. The parking lot across from the old Ford building.
Oh,
Cross.
oh,
The
Where the
Brandenburg.
Brandenburg used to be.
oh, where the brand, okay, so that would not be a permanent location.
Well, I
It's
understand.
also for sale, and then I have it leased, from June 15th through July 15th to the fireworks stand.
Okay.
Well, there wouldn't be any reason, I think, that we couldn't share around. That lot's a pretty good size, and like I said, we haven't got, Right.
We've already signed a contract with them for this year.
for the
But-
whole parking lot?
Yes, but the thing is that property is for sale. So, I mean, it's the same thing as if the Ford building
Right.
sold.
Yeah. So the community center out here would not be an option then, because it's too far outside of the,
Well, I'm not saying it wouldn't be an option, it's just that my concept of the farmer's market for the city of Atoka is in the city of Atoka.
In the
The
core,
Chalk-
of- in the core of the city.
I'm sorry?
In the core of the city,
yeah.
not on the outlying boundaries.
or-
Gotcha.
Along the major highway, 6975, which I'm suggesting the area behind Sonic and
And
Insurance.
that's, and that's one of the challenges, of course, with it being on 6975. That is the highest visibility, but it's also the most sought after real estate.
There's a road that goes
It's
into it.
also the most sought
Now,
after real estate.
I
for
would
somebody to
suggest, I would suggest that for something like that, we'd have to have signage, which we have some, and we could get more, but I'm envisioning an arch that says Farmers Market.
I mean, I've seen some communities, been in some communities where the people would go to the grocery store for their meats and eggs and things of that nature, and they go to the farm, they don't buy any vegetables. I mean, it was really unique. I mean, all the fresh produce and fresh fruits and things of that nature that were grown in those areas. And they had a permanently affixed canopy top, but they had someone that took the funds that the individual growers didn't have to be there. Some were, but they didn't have to be there, and they just were collected and they were paid a percentage, and the farmer's market kept a percentage.
And that's.
But it was
uh,
incredibly
that-
busy.
That's a
when it's done right.
variable that's up to the growers, you know, they may or may not want to be there all the time.
Well, I think, we can take a look at this and work with Carol and Danny and try to find, or look at some options, but it's, to say there's gonna be a permanent location on any city-owned property would be tough to do that's in the core of the city with all the moving parts that we, in my opinion, I'm just speaking for myself. But, definitely wanna try anything we can to help incentivize the usefulness of the farmer's market and to help you grow it. Because, having opportunities for people to have fresh produce and homegrown produce is a key element to our city.
Hey, Brian?
Yes, sir.
Or Carol, either one of y'all, just north of Bledsoe's that Love's owns on the west side, is anybody using that now? I mean, maybe have we ever contacted them about anything? Because they own that all the way back to Todd Stevens' house.
Who's this?
Love's
Corporation?
Mm-hmm. Maybe we could do maybe they could do a long-term lease, since it has literally been sitting there for,
They would just need to contact
30
Lowe's.
yeah.
That's not something we could
Do you know where that's at, Mr.
That's where
Russo?
they
It's
sell
just north
cars.
of the Bledsoe's Diner. There's an empty lot right there, and Love's Corporation owns that and the lot right behind it in the trees. And, it's been there for at least 30 years.
Loves as in, the,
Travel Plaza.
Yep.
travel place.
Yeah, they used to have a Love's convenience store across the street, and they bought the one on the west side. I guess they thought they might grow that way at some point, but they've never done anything with it.
Well, there's always cars for sale over there.
And
so-
they're very philanthropic.
So-
I mean, I think that's worth a call to visit with.
Good option.
I can get you
I don't.
that. I'll get it to Carolyn tomorrow, but.
One option that has not been discussed is, because we've got this plaza that, or the green space, the plaza in between Reva's and Jackson's is not really an option because our vote, our council vote that
It's just not an option.
it's not an option. But, and we've got the green space leased several times, coming up. But, what about the parking lot, west of the library? That's the Mamie Johnson.
I thought that was part of,
So the Mamie Johnson is privately owned, and that won't be a permanent location either, once they start building the hotel. But someplace that is permanently owned, that the city has control over, is the parking lot on the west side of the library, and that still gets you downtown where we've got the nice bathrooms, and it's closer.
You also have this parking lot.
You also have this
We
part.
also have this parking lot.
Yeah,
So we've got,
that might also be beneficial if you have your movies in the park or whatever.
Yes.
If somebody wants to set up a sales place there, that might work also.
So I think there's options, and I think, if you want highway frontage, Mr. Sherrill had a good option there, and then Carol's options are if you want to be in the downtown business
And we
district.
We could do the Brandenburg temporarily, but there needs to be, so the thing that I require on the fireworks stand is when they put up their thing, if you'll notice around their tent is a orange safety fencing, that's to keep some little kid from running out into the traffic. So if we could do, you know, just a temporary fence to keep kids confined so that they don't run out in traffic. I don't have a problem with the Brandenburg outside of that June to July area, those 4 weeks. And then there's also the summit block that we currently own.
We-
But it's kind of tucked back in there. It's where the building is, it's getting ready to come down, but it's adjacent to that Brandenburg lot. It's between the Brandenburg lot and.
Where the gas company
and the
was.
church. Yeah, where the gas company was.
So I think there's a lot of options.
None of those are permanent.
I think those are a lot of options to explore, so let's do, you know, I don't really think any action tonight, but some further discussion, and come up with a plan, and then come back with what you kind of come up with.
I understand we're working with Parks and Rec, is that what
No, it would be,
you asked? Or REA, or?
well, so the ACETA, the Industrial Development Authority is the manager of the TIF district, which is our downtown, redevelopment area. So it would be either me or Danny, either one of us, you could work with. But, I mean, it's up to the council as to who they, you know, I mean, if you wanna use city-owned property that's not the green space, then that would probably be Danny.
Well, again, but until we figure out which piece we're talking about,
Right.
we can sit here and go around the room another dozen times. So,
We've already paid the insurance through October, so
Okay.
unless the building is sold out from us next week, you know, we
Sure.
plan to be there
Sure.
through the summer.
okay.
And,
Well, let's start
to
looking
the
for,
future.
let's look at what the next options are after that is up for that location. And then try to have a plan in place and an agreement underway for that.
Okay. Anything else I can
Oh, sure.
speak to?
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Thank
Appreciate you.
you.
All right, as we move on down, is there any council comments? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Have motion and second, roll call, please.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrill?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Ms. Pogue?
Yes.
And Mayor Kathy?
Yes. As we move into our next meeting of the evening, the Atoka Municipal Authority, would you call roll, please?
Miss- For the next meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Municipal Authority.
The blue.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Ms. Pogue?
Here.
Ms.
Boy, we're clearing the room out, I'll tell you that right now. No, you're, no, I'm just,
No,
no, you do not have to
You
stay.
do
I'm
not
pro,
have
no,
to
you are
stay.
totally, no, you are 100% fine to go home. It's totally okay. I was,
See you.
Brad,
Bye,
thank you.
Brad.
All right.
Ms. Pogue?
Here.
Mr. Turner?
Here.
Mr. Sherrill?
Here.
Ms. McGee?
Here.
Chairman Kathy?
Here. Totally joking on that one, sorry. Apparently, I don't need to do stand-up anytime soon, so, okay. Thank you for the roll call. At this time, this is public comments. Is anything that's not on the posted agenda, you may address the board at this time. Hearing none, we'll move down to the business agenda. Item number 1, discussion and/or action regarding approving and rejecting the minutes of the meeting of April 15th, 2024.
I recommend approving.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrill?
Yes.
Ms. Pogue?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
And Chairman Kathy?
Yes. As we move down, is there any trustee comments?
I make the motion to
There
adjourn.
you go, there's a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second? There it was. Motion and second, roll call, please.
Mr. Sherrill?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Pogue?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Chairman Kathy?
Yes.
Now, the last one.
Mr. Sandman, is that something we need to address this evening, or is that in your court?
Mr. Mayor, this was Ms. Ward, code enforcement sent her a notice to appear tonight, but it was not properly before the council, so I'm going to take that up with code enforcement.
Very good, thank you, sir. All right, as we move into our next and last meeting of the evening, the Atoka City Industrial Development Authority, would you call roll, please?
Ms. McGee,
Here.
Mr. Turner,
Here.
Ms. Poe.
Here.
Mr. Sherrill,
Here.
Chairman Kathy.
Here. This is the public comment time. If there's anything that's not on the posted agenda, you may address the board at this time.
Sorry about that.
All right. Hearing none, we'll move down to the business agenda. Item number 1, discussion and/or action regarding approving or rejecting the minutes of the meeting of April 15th, 2024.
Recommend approving. I'll second.
A motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherrill,
Yes.
Ms. Poe,
Yes.
Ms. McGee,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Chairman Kathy.
Yes. Item number 2, discussion and/or action regarding accepting or rejecting the Economic Development Director's report. Good evening, Ms. Irwin.
Oh, but we are televised. So we had a great week last week. Green Lions principals were in, and this is just, every time I spend time with anybody from this company, I'm more and more impressed with them and with their commitment to Atoka. They actually went out to KTC, they did a whole day of mock interviews to help people go through interviews. And the global manager was out there at KTC helping them with those mock interviews, interviewed a young man for the mock, and hired him. So they're doing some really great things, and the thing that I really like about, the more I learn about their process, is how clean their process is, and this is the type of industry and industrial jobs that we want in Atoka. Their opening will most likely be set for the week of June 3rd through the 7th, so please keep that in mind, and we'll make sure you guys all get invitations to that. The governor is supposed to attend. We don't have confirmation of that at this time. But
So
that
you
was.
said they did mock interviews, or what,
They
they're gonna
did.
do real interviews before?
No, well, so they went out to help KTC. They were doing a thing to help the students go through interviews and learn how to interview.
Right.
And he was giving this young man some advice on how to interview, and got to talking with him and decided he was the person that they needed in their position. They still have, I believe, 2 night positions and a lab assistant position available.
But are those jobs posted, or, I mean, how are they getting their news out to the city of Atoka?
Well, we did a Facebook post on it,
I
but
don't have
other than
Facebook,
that,
so.
no, they didn't take an ad out in the paper, but
Okay,
there have
okay.
been through the Oklahoma Southern Workforce Board is putting it out through that.
Oh, okay.
We also attended a symposium last week. Like I said before, we're working on several grants with OU, and they had a transportation symposium, and it was a lot of really great information on technologies that are developing as far as road surfaces and traffic management.
There was an enormous amount of people with letters behind their name there.
A lot of
They said
letters.
a lot of
It was
smart
like
people up there.
attending a workshop with a room full of Sheldons. But it was very good.
Yeah, it was a really, really interesting day to see the different types of technology that they're working on with the research that's being done, and that's part of what we're trying to work with OU on the item from the council meeting, that moving forward with those projects.
And we got to spend some time with the U.S. Department of Transportation, the gentleman from Washington, I believe. So it was a good networking day. And then Asita also attended the Lieutenant Governor's Turkey Hunt, which proved to be very valuable on some time and connections made with Department of Commerce and with the Lieutenant Governor.
Did you get a turkey?
I did not hunt. But my shoulder cannot handle a shotgun.
She told me she saw enough turkeys when she come to a council meeting.
See, Pat's got jokes. I can't pull a joke off, so. All right.
That's the
Any
biggest
other
turkey over here.
questions or comments?
motion to
for
approve.
Carol?
I'll
Thank you.
second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Hope,
Yes.
Mr. Sherrill,
Yes.
Ms. Turner, or Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. McGee,
Yes.
Chairman Kathy.
Yes. Then move down the agenda, we have an executive session. An executive, thank you, sir. An executive session, now you did write a paragraph on this one. Executive session is authorized by Title 25, State Statute 307C11. All nonprofits, foundations, boards, bureaus, commissions, agencies, trusteeships, authorities, councils, committees, public trust, task force, or study groups supported in whole or part by public funds or entrusted with the expenditure of public funds for the purpose of conferring on matters pertaining to economic development, including the transfer of property, financing, or the creation of a proposal to entice a business to locate within their jurisdiction if public disclosure of the matter discussed would interfere with the public, with the development of the products or services, or if the public disclosure would violate the confidentiality of the business, specifically to update the Atoka City Industrial Development Authority Board on economic development projects and for possible real estate transactions that cannot be publicly disclosed due to the confidential nature of the business relocation. I should have that memorized by now. But with that said, do I hear a motion to enter into executive
I'll
session?
make that motion.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Sherrill,
Yes.
Ms. Poe,
Yes.
Ms. McGee,
Yes.
Chairman Kathy.
Yes. You have them? Okay. All right, do I hear a motion to enter back into open session?
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Oh, you got,
Second.
you got-
Oh, you got the real ones?
Yeah, he's got the real one.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor. I have a
Second.
motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. McGee,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yeah.
Ms. Pogue,
Yes.
Mr. Sherrill,
Yes.
Chairman Kathy.
Yes. All right, return from executive session, item number 1, acknowledgement of minutes of executive session. Minutes were taken. Item number 2, discussion and possible action regarding the purchase of property located at 151 South Mississippi in Atoka. Do I hear a motion? Thank you. Hearing no motion, item is dead for lack of a motion. So as we move down, is there any trustee comments? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
A motion and a second, roll call please.
Ms. Pogue,
Here.
Mr.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Mr. Sherrill,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
See you later, Erica.
Ms. McGee,
Oh, she's gone.
Chairman Kathy.
Yes. Sorry. Is that everybody? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.